Welcome, our fellow lovers of love, and thank you for joining us on yet another excursion through the stream of consciousness, down the river of tranquility, to fill the lake of life with love.
Well, hopefully that finished. Welcome, our fellow lovers of love, and thank you for joining us on yet another excursion through the... Oh man, everything's all messed up today. Another excursion through the whatever the hell it is we say. I haven't had a minute's rest today. I've literally the only rest I've had is when I'm driving. I got up, went to work, and came home. Went and did stuff. Had to come home and clean up the studio and throw it together in a manner that we can put a show together. And I sat down, and I still hadn't even finished. We're technically not finished with the pre-show work, by the way. So we're kind of we're kind of making this work.
All right.
So we shall see. And I think our thing is auto-focusing and doing all kinds of weird stuff.
Interesting.
So we shall see how this works. The camera, I didn't get a chance to set the camera, so it's making AI decisions. So AI is our cameraman today because I didn't get a chance to turn it off. I actually didn't think I installed the software enough for it to work. So there must be some level of automation built in. I wonder if the things work. Oh, it does. Oh crap, now I gotta remember how to turn it off. Okay, now there it goes. Oh man, but now you got to go back to normal. There we go. I messed it all up. Hey! All right, welcome. And that's our intro tonight because I didn't get a prepared intro thing tonight. So that's our intro for tonight. But I do want to say that we've had some feedback from some of our shows, and what people actually like hearing is us encouraging people to take their wins. The encouragement, the positivity is what people like, So even in the face of difficulties, we try to be encouraging and uplifting. And I think that's what people, you can make a difference. Not just us here, but you out there. Anybody can make a difference in your life, which reminds me that, as always, if you're struggling, if it's an emergency, you can dial 988. You're struggling with some mental health issues, and it's a direct emergency. 988 is the way to reach out. And if it's not an emergency, there's the mental health hotline that we can reach out to. We usually keep this mentalhealthhotline.org 1-866-903-3787, and they can help you even if you are not the one struggling. If you need help helping somebody or knowing what to do, I think, that those are resources for you to reach out to in a non-emergency, and, reach out to somebody, even if it's just a shoulder to cry on, people will be there for you if you ask them.
People care. Yeah. There are people who care.
Yeah. There's, the art of being uncomfortable, I'll sit there and be uncomfortable with you. I'm willing to do that. As I always say, I'm willing to be the normal one. When people are going through tragedies, sometimes you just need a sense of normalcy, someone who's not going to bring it up, someone who's going to talk about the normal things. Hey, I can do that. And if I'll sit in the uncomfortableness if it pops up, but I'm also going to, you want to go eat tacos, or you want to go grab some pizza, let's go hit some golf balls, just something normal, the normalcy. Yeah. Because some people's roles are to bring food. Some people's role is to be the shoulder to cry on. Some people's role is emotional support. I've always found that my role is normalcy. You need a dose of normalcy. You need to not have to deal with all that stuff. I'm your man because I can park my curiosity. My curiosity doesn't need to be filled. I'm here to do what you need to do. And I'm good at that. So I'm good at being there for what when you need that kind of thing. So I can do the other things too, but I'm really good at being normal in times of crap. All right, let's just be normal. Sometimes you need normalcy. All right, so we've got some life questions, and this first one is technically for you, so I'm going to answer this one. And I got some of these life questions. We get them from different places. I go to Quora, and you go to Reddit, and we really need to work on our
Yeah,
Reddit.
we do.
But anyway, all right, let me get this. And as always, if you want to send us a question or comments, you can send them to love@latenightLove.us. You can go to latenightLove.us, and there's a comment form there. I think it works still. And you can listen to us also on KUBU 96.5 FM down here in downtown Sacramento. If you're outside of downtown Sacramento, you can pull up the KUBU 96.5 FM app on Apple or Android phones. Just go to your store and pick it up. And I think we've got all that out the way. Like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So, Lovey, what food should people with bipolar disorder avoid?
You're asking me.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
Yes, you do. Actually, it's not technically a food, but it is. It's alcohol.
Oh.
It's the single biggest.
Bipolar should not be drinking and doing drugs. I'm sorry, no.
Yeah.
Heavy drugs. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Stay away from the hard liquors. Stay away from more than 2 beers, a couple glasses of wine. Anything that will kick over a change, you want to avoid. Is essentially right. You're trying to avoid those big swings, and alcohol, hard drugs, even pain medicines can
affect you,
can kick those things over. So be very, very careful. It's not necessarily foods, but something we don't think about when you're talking about bipolar is alcohol. And that is one of those things that, especially if it's severe bipolar, if you get severe swings, avoid alcohol.
Definitely.
Like the freaking plague would be my suggestion. All right. So what do we got next?
How can someone be priced out of their home that already own the home?
Okay, there's a couple ways. One is interest rates. Even if you have locked in your interest rate, right? You got a fixed interest rate. Doesn't mean your payment necessarily never changes. Banks can add fees and things depending upon the value of the home. But the biggest one is, depending upon where you live, is taxes. If your house gets reassessed every year or two, and you just happen to live in a place where people are willing to overpay for housing, you can get priced out of your house very quickly, where the taxes and fees it's not the mortgage that you can't afford. It's the taxes, fees, and insurance. Because you're no longer having to pay insurance on a $100,000 house. You're having to pay for insurance on a $600,000 house. Yeah. Right? You're no longer having to pay taxes on a $100,000 house. You have to pay taxes on a $600,000 house. And so, be very wary when people want to change tax structures of, property tax structures. Be very, very wary, because it's essentially, you don't own your home. You're renting it from the government at that point. Even if you pay off the bank and you've got the title and the deed, you still have to pay someone every year in order to live there, or they'll take it from you. That's what property tax is. At a theoretical resale value, even if you're never going to sell, your house still gets reappraised. It's actually valueless, right? Because you're not going to sell it. There is no value that you're willing to sell it at. So it's valueless, or no one's willing to offer you the amount that you're willing to sell it for. Yeah, I'll sell it, but no one's going to ever offer me that much, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what's the value of that property? It's nothing. If the top amount someone's willing to pay is, say, $1 million, but you, because of sentimental value or whatever, is only willing to take $10 million, that's it, no less. Because you figure after taxes and blah 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 blah, you're only getting 5 anyway. So, right? So I'm only taking 10. So how much is that property really worth? It's worth nothing. It's either priceless or not, or valueless, one or the other. But yet you're still going to tax people on that. So that's how you get priced out of your home. It's taxes and insurance. And on occasion, If you have a variable interest rate, you can get boxed out of it really quickly. But even fixed interest rates, because of fee structures, be very careful. Sometimes you might have light payments at the beginning of your fixed rate mortgage, and they balloon later, and you might get caught up in one of those, figuring, oh, you'll refinance. Well, next thing you know, interest rates have raised and you can't refinance, or you can't afford the new price. It becomes complicated. So it's very easy to get priced out of your home. Most of the time it's taxes, but other times it's interest rates and things like that. Okay, what's next?
I am 16. I think my aunt is my birth mother. We look exactly alike and we have more in common. I want to take a DNA test. How do I do this without telling my mom or aunt?
Well, you can always send your DNA off to one of those DNA testing companies. I think 16 is old enough, but I would suggest you don't. One, it's not that unusual for aunts and nieces to look alike, right?
No, it's not uncommon at all.
It's not that far of a thing. But the person who is your mother is the woman who raised you, regardless of what the DNA does or doesn't say. Now, maybe there's a reason you wish your aunt was your mother, but the grass is always greener. Maybe you don't as much as you do. Oftentimes we have a strange relationship with parents. We want them to be our friends when they're not, especially 16-year-old girls. And unless your mother is abusive or neglectful, right? We're going to push those off for a minute. I mean, genuinely abusive or neglectful, not a 15-year-old. Oh, you don't let me have my cell phone when I want it. That is not abusive. That's parenting. Maybe wrong. It could be all kinds of things. She could be over, she very well could be, blowing something out of her portion over blah, 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 blah. But that's not abusive. That's just parenting. But, there is abusive, there is neglectful. And assuming that's not what we're talking about here, is just me and my mom aren't getting along because I'm 16. She's 36, 40 years old. And she's got different goals for me than I do right now. My mom is thinking about when I'm going to be 40, and I'm thinking about when I'm going to be 17. That, yeah, that causes conflict. And, you want your aunt, because aunts get to be the fun one. They get the ones who take you for ice cream, take you to Disneyland. When mom doesn't want you to have candy, they're the ones who sneak it to you. All that fun stuff that aunts get to do. But the minute that aunt is your parent, those things change. You end up back in square one, because your aunt is not that, apples don't fall far from the tree, generally speaking.
Sorry.
So my suggestion is to just reframe it. Try to reframe your relationship with your mother. It really is. The last few years, I get to work at a public access thing, and they have movies that get made. And a lot of times there's some real emotional movies. You get 10 minutes to squeeze in a story, and these squeeze in some high emotions. So go find yourself some of those short 10-minute stories. You can go to accesssacramento.org and look up the last place called Sacramento Film Festival films. Watch a few of them, and maybe find, you can find a new connection to what you and your parents are. Because what's happening right now is you guys have different goals. She's thinking of you at 40, and you're thinking of you at 17. And you want a friend, and your mother's thinking of you as her daughter. And that can cause some conflict.
Yes, it can.
And that can wish you to want someone else to be your mother.
It certainly does.
So, again, unless it's generally abuse or neglect, and I'm not ruling that out, but I'm going to assume that it's more traditional mother and daughter things. All right, what's next?
My tenants accidentally broke the washing machine. It's been 4 weeks. They refused to pay me rent due to the fact I have not replaced the washer yet. How should I proceed?
Well, washing machines just break. They don't necessarily accidentally broke the washing machine. It means it broke while they were using it. That things happens. What you are failing to do is provide maintenance. You don't have to replace it. You can send over a repairman to fix it. It's probably something relatively simple, right? That's how washing machines are. So the repairman is probably cheaper than buying a new one.
Yeah.
especially if it's a cheap, easy fix. Send over the repairman. And depending upon where they live, they have every right to withhold rent. Well, they have a right to pay someone to come fix it and withhold that from your rent is what they technically have to do.
Yeah, not withhold rent. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the thing to do. Resolve this like an adult. You call them up. You say, I'm going to send over a repairman to fix the thing where you guys submit the rent. And just you guys deal with it like adults.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get all upset. Just deal with it. Hey, I understand you guys were upset over the washing machine. Sorry I didn't get it fixed earlier. Cash flow issues. Because sometimes cash flow issues can be real, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to grant him the benefit of the doubt that this is cash flow issues and not that I just don't feel like fixing it because they accidentally broke it. No, it's just like if the heater broke or the air conditioner broke, things break, and you're responsible for maintaining those, especially if it's part of the lease.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if it's their washer and dryer, they're out of luck, right? But if it's on their lease that they have a working washer and dryer or whatever it is, then you're obligated to repair it.
Yeah.
Doesn't need a new one, but you are obligated to repair it. Okay, what's next?
My neighbor planted some bushes along her side of the fence, and now I can't see what she's doing there anymore. Is she legally allowed to do this?
All right, listen, Miss Kravitz. Mind your own business is my suggestion on this one. This is pretty simple. You know why she planted those bushes? Because you're being nosy. So stop it. That's my suggestion. Knock it off. Mind your own business. Is she legally allowed to do this? Are you legally allowed to sit there and spy on your neighbor? That's the thing that gets me. She legally allowed to plant bushes so I can't see? Yes. Yes, she is. God almighty. That's worse than an HOA thing, going out and measuring grass. Just stop it. If you're go volunteer at the local Goodwill or the local community center, or go join the exercise class at something. Go find something to do. Grow tomatoes indoors. Find something. Take up painting, clay work. It doesn't matter. Just find something.
Anything.
Take up singing in the shower. I don't care. Just stop paying attention to what your neighbors are doing. It means you don't have enough to do in your own life. That's what that means. Okay, what do we have? We're on to relationships.
Yes, we are. My boyfriend wants to end our relationship because I said no to his sister moving in.
I'm going to assume there were some tragic circumstances at play here. And so you're asking your boyfriend to choose between you and his sister. And guess what, sunshine? You're going to lose almost every time.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if his sister is someone who works hard, and her life is falling apart. She needs a place to stay. And yeah,
he's gonna choose sister over you.
Yep, every single time.
Yes.
Yeah, unless his sister's a deadbeat drug addict and out on the street, and this is the latest couch she's surfing on. And even under that circumstance, you're still a coin flip of winning that, of losing that argument. Because it's his sister. And
mm-hmm.
You, for whatever reason, you wanted to mark your territory or stand your ground on the territory, and guess what?
You lost.
Move on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not unrepairable probably, but my guess is you're not, for whatever reason, you're not willing to change. So move on.
Yeah.
Except you both drew your lines, right? So wasn't gonna work. Okay, what's next?
My wife put pork into my meal. How do I talk to her about it?
Okay, I'm assuming he's either doesn't like pork or is Muslim or something.
He's Muslim.
Was it an accident or deliberate?
Well, she just didn't feel like making two different pots of spaghetti, and she put sausage in the spaghetti.
This is one of those things is when you have, this is something that we've solved. We just make our own dinners.
We make our own dinners. Yes, we do.
We're just, because we eat so differently, that it's unreasonable to expect the other person to figure out how to to expect one or the other to figure out how to make both of us happy. It's just unreasonable.
I could not survive on your diet.
And I wouldn't eat yours. So, you know, so in the long run, I'd die too. So it's just how it would work. So the answer to this one is you just start making your own meals. And the problem is actually solved. Now, culturally, that may be difficult for him to swallow, but at the same time, you know, you're talking about she's obviously not Muslim, so there's compromises you're gonna have to make already, and so this is one of those things. My suggestion is to not ask her to make 2 meals, so you make your own.
Make your own. Yeah.
And here's the thing: anytime you have what are unique dietary needs for the culture that you live in, right? You have to take responsibility for filling your own. Expecting others to learn how to adapt to you is unreasonable.
I agree.
Now, there may be occasions where, because she loves you, she's willing to go through the extra mile, you know, on special dinners, special occasions, those kinds of things. And she's willing to do it just as you will for her. But on the day-to-day basis, take care of yourselves. Job is done. You can move on. All right, what's next?
My boss refuses to let me vote.
What?
He said she can't leave to go vote.
Well, in most places, that's not, you know, it's illegal for him to say that. But, you know, there's usually plenty of time before and after the open early, close late. You can vote early and all those other things. But realistically, depending upon where you live, but I can't think of any place that doesn't have a time off thing. You need to be given time to go vote on that day.
Yeah.
I think almost everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. And those places that don't, you know, you generally have, the reason they don't have it is because they have early voting or vote by mail or all the other options. So now there's plenty of other options if you can't, right? Because if you work at a coal mine, it's really difficult to take off to have it where you just close the coal mine for half the day and send everybody home, right? That's what you end up having to do. Or an assembly line, you can't have people coming and going. So we're just going to close early. Yeah, I'll go vote. You're right. That's what happens on assembly lines on the Tuesday. You just close early and you go home because you can't have half the assembly line coming and going. That's not reasonable. So there are conditions where jobs have to accommodate the voting. And yeah, you have to do that. This isn't the old days. So you can look up the local laws in your area and point it out to them. I have a legal right to vote and you have to let me. Right? Would be the easiest suggestion. Because sometimes they just don't know. They're just kind of ignorant of it. Especially if,
well, he is older.
Well, it's not only there was a period of time where I worked for some African immigrants. They owned and ran a warehouse, import warehouse, and they didn't know labor. I actually had to tell them about, you know, labor laws. No, you get 2 breaks, 2 10-minute breaks. You know, a lot of places give them 15s, but you know they're legally 2-minute breaks plus their lunch. And you pay them for those 2 10-minute breaks. Yeah, they go, it's coffee breaks or whatever you want to call it. But they didn't know. And so you said, no, this is, and the people they were hiring, they were actually being nice and hiring people who are just coming out of prison. So they were hiring convicts. Well, you know, they're a little cheaper, but you know, they're also, I think his brother had been a convict or something, and so he had a connection to getting people, giving him a second chance. So the convicts were going to complain, right? You're an ex-con, you got a felony on your thing, and you've got a job that actually pays you. You're going to keep it, right? You're not going to complain just because you don't get a 10-minute break. You're just not going to do it. And so since I didn't care, I can get another job, no problem. No, this is. So
were they angry?
They didn't understand. And at the time I was working for for one of those temp agencies, right? And so at some point you just say the temp agency, I just need a new job and here's why. And the temp agency actually was the one who kind of had to correct him. A week later they called, asked me to come back, but I already had another job. You know, I already had a better one. So I was like, sorry, I appreciate your willingness to learn, right? But I've moved on. And in the long run, they appreciate it, right? Because you save them from a potential huge lawsuit. Any one of those convicts could have actually at any time gone down and sued. It's just they weren't willing to take the risk, the long-term risk of never being able to get employed again. Yeah. Okay. What's next?
I found out my wife has been lying to me, and 3 out of our 4 kids aren't mine. How do I move forward from here?
Oh, Jesus. And these are mid-30s, 34, 35. I don't know, but here's what I do know. You will find a way.
Yeah, you will.
I'd suspect there's no way this marriage is going to stay together, even for the sake of the children. Simply because that is too much water under the bridge at some point, right?
Yeah.
And those children can't be that old. I mean, at most 16, right? 16, 17 at absolute most. So what do you do? Well, here's the thing. As we talked about earlier, the father is the one who raised them. The mother is the one who raised them. We're not talking legalities here. We're talking your emotions. Regardless of what your wife has done, you have raised those children. And at some point, you're gonna the pain from the abuse. There's just no more. That's abuse. That's spousal abuse right there at that stage. And let's not pretend it's not.
Yeah.
You will recover from that. And you want to maintain that fatherly relationship with those children because they're going to need it.
They really will.
And you will want it.
You will.
It will be difficult, right? Looking at 3 of your children will be difficult for a few months. But at the same time, you've raised them. They're still the, siblings of your child. So there's always going to be a relationship there. But you have raised them to this point. That's not going to change. In fact, you may want to be the one to continue to raise them. When it comes to ending this relationship and custody, she may argue for spousal support for those children. And in certain jurisdictions, she may very well be entitled to it. And so in that particular case, you may be the better option to raising those children. And you should argue that in court. If she's willing to lie and 3 of the 4 kids aren't, is she a fit mother? Maybe. Maybe. Those things aren't necessarily related. We know nothing about the relationship. But I'm just saying, how do you move forward? I don't know how, but you do. Because you always do. Because there's no option not to. But my suggestion is to continue to be the father that you'd want to be for those children. What if one of those kids was you? How would you want you to act?
Yes. It's not their fault.
Sit past your pain at some point. Put your pain aside at some point and put yourself in those kids. What's best for those kids. Don't punish the children in lashing out at your wife. As difficult as that is. Sometimes being a man is taking burdens that aren't yours because it's the best thing for you, them, society. All right, let's move on.
My boyfriend cheated on me. Says it was just a release.
Well, yeah, I bet it But at 27, if you can't be committed, you're not committed. Just move on. There's no, don't waste any time. Right? To be honest, it's probably the most honest answer he could give you. It's probably actually an honest answer. Right? He didn't try and come up with some bullshit, pardon, some BS excuse. I'm gonna have to go edit that for radio. Time are we at? He didn't come up with some excuse. It was, but he let you know it was more important. The release was more important than you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, so yeah, you're 27. You're not 17, 18, 19 years old where you could, I suppose, excuse hormones. At that age, you should be able to control them. Okay, what's next?
Exclusivity denied after 6 dates. How much time would you give to make a decision?
All right, they're what, early 20s, right? 25, 23.
Yeah.
6 dates means they're not interested in you enough, regardless of whichever it is, to be exclusive yet. And so you have to decide how much time you're willing to put into this relationship. It's got nothing to do with them at this point. You have to decide. They told you where they're at right now, right? They're not ready. They don't like you enough at the moment to overcome all the various other balances that go into that equation, right? Right. Now it might be past trauma. Who knows what the heck it is that you're actually weighing against.
She may have a 3-month rule.
Yeah. 90, 100, 6-month rule. Who knows? Who knows what it is? And it may be there for good reason.
Yeah.
Or because that's what her sister told her to do. Who knows? But she's not sure of it yet. So now women will break their rules. So will men if the emotion of love is strong enough, if the pull is strong enough, but it's not. And so you have to decide, is it one of those things? Good things come to those who wait, or, sunken cost fallacy. I've spent this much time and energy and effort into it, and how much more am I willing to spend on something that's ultimately going to be losing effort? You've sunk 6 dates into it. Am I going to six more?
6 more. How many?
6 after
you
that.
have to decide.
Yeah. And what is 6 dates? 6 weeks? Who's going to be exclusive after 6 weeks? That's a high expectation, isn't it? 6 dates ain't that many. How many hours is that? 3-4 hours a day at most, right? On average. You're not into the number of dates where you're going overnights or anything like that yet.
Not yet.
So, yeah, maybe your expectations are the problem. Right?
Could be.
Back off, boyfriend. All right. What do we have next?
My significant other showered naked with her best friend, also a female, while I was out late at a sports game. Am I not thinking of the situation correctly?
Women shower. Women and men are different when it comes to these kind of things.
No, we're not.
What, you guys don't shower together?
No.
Oh, well, I've known women don't really.
No.
My experiences.
Wait, was there a water shortage or something?
I don't know. Women tend to do all kinds of weird things together. You guys go to the bathroom together, so why wouldn't you take a shower together?
Well, we don't watch.
Well, you may not be out watch, but it's not like y'all are crystal quiet or anything. The whole bathroom knows. So
yeah, but you're not looking at the other beds.
I don't know. Maybe I've just been camping too much where there's too many group showers.
The internet, man, it just wrecks everything for women. No wonder there's these unrealistic expectations.
I'm the one who's assuming it's a perfectly just normal routine thing that they're just showering together. just because they're best friends and when best friend women shower together. I'm not the one who's thinking that there's something going on.
No, man, that's weird.
Oh, see, I'm the one who thought it was perfectly normal.
No.
And it's got nothing to do with the internet. The internet didn't tell me this.
Oh.
Camping bathrooms taught me this.
Oh. No, in the camping bathrooms, there's at least little walls.
Yeah, but there's these little dinky walls, and y'all walked in there wearing nothing. And
well, you don't look. That's in a group shower. That's a group situation.
Yeah,
you don't go one-on-one in your house with your girlfriend.
I don't know. See, I assume women do all kinds with their best friends, do all kinds of things that men wouldn't do, just because it'd be perfectly normal. So I don't know. Maybe it's me.
Sorry, not all of us are Britney Spears and change and trade underwear. All right.
I'm saying you guys trade underwear. Well, anyway, we've gone off the rails on that one. I'm not sure what we're doing with that one anymore. All right. So I finished whatever that was. We're on to parenting.
Parenting.
All right.
Okay, dinner with a newborn. They are never getting a moment's peace to where they can sit down and have a meal where it's warm.
Yeah.
They get a couple bites. The baby needs attending. They come back to a cold meal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It will end, right? The baby gets into a sleep pattern eventually, and you will be able to figure out that hour and a half worth of quiet you guys get at 4 p.m. or 6 p.m. or whatever time it is to sit down and have a quick meal together. That will come 3-4 months in, whatever it is, at 6 at the latest type of thing. It may be 3 a.m. or whatever, but there will be a time where you guys can figure that out. It doesn't last forever. That's the nice thing about it. But yes, this is why parents are always newborns are exhausted all the freaking time.
This is why.
If you guys are smart, you don't try to make it these meals. One person eats is nice, comfy, and quiet while the other one watches the baby, and then you switch. And you accept that for a few months you guys are going to be kind of living these tag teaming life where one person's kind of doing real world normal human things and the other person's on baby duty, and then you switch so the other person doesn't go crazy. And that's how you do it. Especially important if one person is primary. If he goes off and goes to work for 10 hours, 11 hours of the day, and she's at home doing baby duty for 11 hours of the day, you've got to find time for that switch when you get home, right? Take the long way home, get some decompression time in the car on the way home. You get in, you hop into baby mode for an hour so she can go off and decompress, and so do that. That switch is important. It pays huge dividends 3, 4, 6 months, years down the road. It really does. Yeah. So that's how and good luck. You get through it. You really do. All right.
Knowing your parents did their best, but also thinking you deserve better.
Yeah. Welcome to every generation that's ever existed. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. And guess what? Your children feel the exact same way.
Yep.
Until they hit about 40. And then they go, oh, yeah, my kids are hitting that now, and they're only in their 30s. They're only hitting their 30s. Oh, yeah, now I understand. Doesn't mean they necessarily agree, but they understand. And, you do the best you can in the circumstances you've got in the world they're living in then. That's sometimes what young people forget, is that, you have to exist in the world you live in. And the world of the young you is vastly different than the world of the old you. World changes a lot in 10, 15 years.
It really does.
And so that's all I'm saying. That is a perfectly normal feeling. But, the question is, did they do their best? That's all you can actually expect. You don't deserve anything. You deserve their best effort on any given day. Some days they're going to be better than others. Some years they're going to be better than others. But what you deserve is their best effort. You don't deserve any particular outcome because there's so much. There is so much to chance, so much that they can't control. All they can do is the best they can do. And if they give the best they can do, you honor them for that. Even if they failed a lot, but they tried, you honor that because they damn tried. You don't blame them because the grass always looks greener. But the truth is the grass is green when you feed it. So feed the grass you're standing on. Okay, what's next?
Everyone comments on my child's size. Is he abnormal? Okay, her baby was a little over 9 pounds.
That's a pretty big baby. Yeah. That's a unique outcome. It's kind of an outlier. I wouldn't call it abnormal, but it's an outlier. No one, most babies are what, 6 to 8?
Mm-hmm.
Probably somewhere in the 7s is probably fairly normal. 6 point something, 7 point something is usually in kind of normal range. If
Mm-hmm.
my memory serves, I know it's been a long time, but so yeah, that's a big baby. And just like if your baby is abnormally cute, they're gonna, talk about how cute it is. If the baby has huge hair, they're gonna say, "Look at the hair." If your baby's big, they're gonna say, "That's a big baby." It's just what it is.
Yeah. He's all right. You're all right.
Yeah, right.
The baby's okay too.
Yeah. The one thing is, children who continue to be big, tall, who look older than they are, physically older than they are, they often have short childhoods. So if that continues, if that size differential from his peers continues, you want to be careful that he doesn't lose his childhood early.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just accidental.
That happened to my sister.
Yeah.
She was taller than all the other kids, and she asked one of the teachers one time, "How come you're so hard on me?" And she said, "'Cause you're tall, and we expect more out of you."
Yeah, like the
'Cause
height.
you look older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that has anything to do with anything else, right? You're taller. We expect more of you. Well, I'm just as dumb as they are. What do you want from me? So, I get it. So yes, be careful if it continues, but it often doesn't, right? They often revert to mean as is the way of, evolution. Okay, what's next?
I don't know how to parent a teen, 14, who sees himself as a victim. Help. Nothing is his fault.
Well,
Everyone is against him,
oh, there's two problems with this, right? One, that's a normal teenage type thing, right? But they're being taught that in the current culture, the schools, the whole 9 yards. And the only thing you can do as a parent is to reinforce his agency. You got to make him take ownership of his life. And maybe it starts by him out getting a 14. It's pretty hard to get a job at 14 these days, but that's a lot of the time where it starts. Finding something where he's responsible for something, but it's his choice, it's his rewards, it's his, his success or failures is on him, and it's clearly his. Sometimes hobbies can work on that. You give him a complex hobby, something that he's interested in. My guess is he's not going to go into team sports because that's oftentimes where coaches are very good at working that victimhood out of. Yeah, bad things are going to happen to you. I don't care. How do you respond to that? That's what coaches do. That's what good coaches really do. Yeah, balls bounce weird. How do you deal with it? That's what they want to know. And how do you get him there? There's no simple answer. It's just find some way to give him agency over something. Maybe something creative. I'll give you a couple examples. We have at the radio station I work at, we have a teen radio drama, right? People they write and create their, a short 5-minute radio drama, produce it, submit it, the whole 9 yards. And it's a nice little creative project that he's responsible for. And then everybody just gets to hear it on the air. I'm sure your neighborhood, your area has something, some kind of unique creative. My guess is he's a creative teen who doesn't have an outlet. And so he has nothing to hang that's truly his to take responsibility for. This is mine. This is my project. This is my thing. Success or failure is clearly on me because I'm the only one that can do this. Right? I have the tools because all I need is a computer and a microphone, right? You can't fail. Right? It's all you. Here's your computer, here's your microphone. Make it. The computer, the microphone, and the internet, he can do it, right? So find a hobby for him is my suggestion. Find him some successes, pick him up some wins, and give him some agency in something. But it's got to be his. All right.
Name regret at 4 months.
Oh, did they give their child some wonky name and now they regret it?
Yeah.
Well, luckily, I think you can change it relatively easily. I mean, you have to petition the court and all that 9 yards, but you can change it. But at 4 months, you just start using their name as the name they go by, whatever name you would prefer them to use, and you introduce them as that. Maybe it's their middle name already, right?
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe use the middle name while you're going through the process of legally changing the baby's name. It doesn't take that long, but it does take some. This thing is going all wonky.
Nice.
We are having some really weird.
There we go.
Okay, so yeah, you could probably get it with a paralegal or someone who knows how, or someone who can a form assistant type person who's helped you can fill out the forms. It's probably not that expensive. It's just go through the paperwork and go in front of a judge, explain to you why. He'll probably look at the name and says, "Yep, okay," and then change it. That's would legally change it. But until then, informally change it by just using the name you want to change it to.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Struggling with the reality that my child is growing up. She's 14.
Every parent's thing. One day you turn around, the child is a toddler rolling around on the ground. Next thing you know, they're asking you for car keys. They're going out on dates. They're becoming a young man or a young woman. You turn around and you don't even recognize them anymore. Who the heck are you? And when did this happen? It happens, and it happens to all of us. We were just kind of had that same kind of thing here. One of the brood had a birthday and kind of did the backtracking of when they left and all the things that have gone on.
Yeah.
Wow. When the hell did that happen? It didn't seem like that long ago, but yet it was.
It really was.
And it's like, you've grown, and it's so long. It's someone hits 30 and you're going, hey, that's a really long time, because it's all the way through high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a really long time. So, and children grow up fast and time moves faster. So enjoy the times you have, even the frustrations. Find a way to enjoy them, because they're never coming back.
No.
And enjoy the journey, because that's what you're there for. You're there to, especially at teenagers, right? At that age, you're there to assist them on their journey, right? You're no longer, you're still a parent, but as I say, you're a lot more of an information booth. Your guideposts, you kind of help them stay on track. If you've done your job right, there's not a lot of discipline in their teenage years. It's not that there's none, but because they know when they're done wrong. They just deliberately do it. And that's a different thing. So
They just think they're not going to get caught.
oh, well, yours think you weren't going to get caught. Mine just didn't care. So that's a whole different thing. Yeah, I'll take whatever punishment. It's worth it. Yeah, that's even worse. Yeah, I'll take the punishment. What's good punishing you if you did that? Don't care. Well, yeah, I'll sit in my room for 3 weeks. I don't give a shit. It's like, well,
Stop it.
You're supposed to care. It doesn't do any good if you don't care. So yeah, that's the problem at 14 is because they are becoming their own person.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to there's a point where you no longer get to, you're no longer in charge of play dates. You're no longer in charge of their schedule. You're no longer, you have to let go of those things, right? You don't dress them anymore. Those things you kind of have to let go of. And that's difficult. It's difficult to change, and we all understand because we've all been through. But you'd be okay. Except that it's just another stage. It's just like, the baby stage where they're totally dependent on you. You both loved it and you missed it, but you don't want to go back to it, do you? Not really.
Not really.
There's an emotional part of you that does. Sure, but you don't really want to do the day-to-day of that, do you? No, of course not. So it's the same thing here. It's just another stage, and you're just feeling emotional because your child has become a different one, and you kind of miss the old one. But you'll love this one just as much.
Yeah, you will.
Okay, what's next?
I'm sick of guessing my child's size when there is no universal sizing system.
Well, yeah. And your child is changing size every 3 weeks, which doesn't help either.
No.
That's the other problem with that equation. Go to the thrift shop, buy them clothes there. Because especially if they're boys, they're going to wear them out before they outgrow them. No, they're going to outgrow them before. Anyway, you know what I mean.
They're going to wear them out before they outgrow them.
Well, boys at certain ages.
Mm-hmm.
But once they get to...
But they're going to outgrow them before they wear them
Yes,
out.
when they hit the teenagers years.
They outgrow them.
Yeah, because those boys, when they hit 12 you never know when their growth spurts are going to hit.
Mm-hmm.
You could go buy clothes one week and the next week they're 2 inches too short because those suckers have decided to grow 4 inches. All their shoes no longer fit because, you just bought them a month ago, but now all of a sudden their shoes don't fit because their feet grew. Yeah. That's the damnedest thing. So, go to the thrift shop, buy some secondhand clothes. The only real way to do it is to have them go and try them on and buy clothes that are a little big.
Yeah.
It is kind of the universal way of getting children's clothes. Is you try them on and you buy them a little big and you hope for the best. Okay. What we got next?
I was asked this question at a job interview. Suppose we hire you and your first job is to fire 20% of the people in your department. How do you find out who's doing nothing? How would you decide who to fire?
Well, there's 2 ways. You actually make there's 3 steps. First step is you talk to everybody and you figure out you literally simply ask the other employees who needs to go. They'll tell you. You'd be surprised how often they'll tell you. And 90% of the people are going to point to the same 10%, and those are the people that go.
Mm-hmm.
They're just out of here. Now, the rest of it is who requires the most managerial oversight? Who can't be trusted to work on their own? They're out of there. Because those are the people who are costing you money invisibly. Now, there is exceptions to that list, right? There may be some exceedingly high performers who are high maintenance, and you may want to keep those.
Oh, okay.
Now, it depends what the high maintenance is,
Mm-hmm.
right? If it's harassment type of thing, you get them out of there. You don't want them in the culture. But if they're just a pain in the butt Karen who complain about the state of the kitchen all the time, you might deal with them, right? You know what I'm talking about? It's not the same thing. These are different issues. But those are the people you don't want, because the first group of people, no one wants to work with them. They're not doing anything anyway. Even if they're high performer, they're dragging down the culture. They're dragging down morale. You just get rid of them. That second group is costing you money and time, because you can then get rid of their managers, or a third of the managers or whatnot. And that's the other step, because if you get rid of the people who need management, you can get rid of the people who are managing them.
Ooh.
Or move them up, move them over, whatever it is, right? And there are always exceptions. You look for those people who have been there a long time, and if there's some problem, you look to resolve it first. Maybe there's been a lot of turnover and change, and Bob, who's been there 25 years, hasn't adjusted well, and so he's become a management problem, right? You can solve that, right? Actually, getting rid of the dead weight may solve that all on its own. So these aren't universal. When I say they're not universal, but yeah, you're going to get rid of a lot. That's where the bulk of those firings come from. You essentially let the workers tell you who needs to go.
I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah, they're the ones who needs to go. Just straight up ask them. And they're all going to point to the same handful of people, right? And so those are the easy ones to fire, right? But you start with the easy ones. And then you work to the harder and harder decisions. Yeah. Okay. And I just like these universal things where anybody who's like 2 years, or no, you use some kind of sense to it, because at least then you can explain your process to those who've remained, and they can buy in. Like, we're doing this because these people have been leeching off of your work. Your job is going to be easier now, right? Believe it or not, I understand. Your job is going to be easier now because they're not dragging us down, and you can go explain that to them. But if you're just saying we're cutting 10% and it's the last 10% to be here across the board, whatever it is, right? Yeah, that's not a viewpoint that's looking out for the company or those remaining employees, right? Yeah. Okay, so what's next?
I'm convinced that my COO is on drugs, probably cocaine.
It wouldn't be the first time. But it's one of those things that, unless it's your business, it's none of your business. Right? It depends what your role is in the company. If you are an officer of the company, you probably have a obligation to bring it up to somebody.
Yes.
Yes. If you are a floor worker, you mind your own business. It's not worth it, because you will be the one to go. Just saying. Don't rock. If you're a floor worker, don't rock the boat over management things. It's not your position.
No.
If you are an officer of the company, you have an obligation to deal with it the best way you know how. Sometimes that is to ignore it, because you're going to get your head cut off anyway. And so what you do is you ignore that and you look for an exit. You prepare yourself to move on, because you don't want to work there under those circumstances. Yeah. Or other time you go to the board, a member of the board, president, or whatever it is, and you quietly bring it up in background channels. Keep it quiet, keep it background, keep it out of emails, out of traceable content, until you have someone higher up who can tell you what to do, and you can get a better read on how the company is going to deal with it. If you're friendly with a board member, private conversation is the way to go. Okay.
My coworkers think I stink, and it's affecting my work life. He has a body odor issue, and he doesn't know what to do about it. He's tried everything.
Has he talked to his doctor?
No.
Well, there you go. That's your next step, because those are often chemicals imbalances, and there might be something physically wrong with you. You could be in the worst case scenario, you could be dealing with a cancer. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but these are, unexplained body odor can be a symptom of cancer. There's lots of things that can be a symptom of malfunctioning kidneys, malfunctioning livers, overactive thyroids, all kinds of various things, diabetes, blah, blah, blah. There's a laundry list. So if you haven't talked to your doctor about it, then you haven't done everything. So at this stage, if you've tried everything, you bathe every day, you use deodorant, you add cologne, but it just makes it worse, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Then your next step is, hey doc, I've got a problem. And it's not an easy conversation to have, to call up your doctor's office and say, yeah, what are you dealing with? What can I help you with? I stink. I shower every day. I don't understand. I don't know what to do. But here's the thing. You're not the only one.
No, you're not.
If you don't believe us, do a quick internet search.
There you go. Yes.
And just ask whatever AI you use, whatever internet search engine you use, their AI will give you a quick explanation of a wide variety of things. For the love of everything you do or do not believe in, go talk to your doctor.
Yes.
Because there may be something seriously wrong. It may just be a simple chemical imbalance and it's something that's easily fixed and not a problem, right? Or maybe it's something more serious, but regardless, you haven't done everything until you've talked to your doctor. And at this point, I'm more worried about something being wrong rather than your odor and you're affecting your work life. I'm worried about it affecting your health. So go deal with that. Okay, what's next?
What would you say to the annoying guy at work?
What about the annoying guy at work? I tend not to talk to the annoying guys at work. That's what you say. Not every problem needs to be dealt with directly, right? Some problems can just be ignored. He's annoying, but lots of things are annoying. Traffic's annoying. We deal with it anyway. Taxes are annoying. We pay them anyway. Whatever. Trying on pants is annoying, but when we need new pants, we have to go do that, right? It's just one of those things. Coworkers can be annoying. Don't always have to deal with it.
No, you don't. Shine them on.
Yeah. Just go on about your business. All right.
Coworkers are really nosy about my personal life.
Don't answer their questions. That's actually an easy one. The only way to deal with that is to not give the answer. You just don't have to answer. So what are you doing Saturday? Nothing. And there's always nothing. No one knows what I do on the weekends or what I do. No, I don't tell anybody other than, they know I do a show, but they don't know. If I could be sitting down watching football, I could be out climbing rocks. No one knows, except every now and again I come in with, pulled muscles and whatnot from stepping on rocks. That's all people know. I'm like, it's funny that I work on a radio station. I'm like, the guy from WKRP, the Les Nessman, right? He always had a Band-Aid somewhere. I'm always aching from somewhere. It's the same concept. It's kind of funny. But so yeah, just don't answer it. Be non-committal is my suggestion. And it picked up on me again. Stop it. Okay. I wonder how long it's been like that. I don't think very long. Okay. What's next?
I messed up big time at work, and now I just don't feel cut out for this role.
Mistakes happen. So one time we made a mistake. Whose exact mistake it was, but we cost our mistake required that a silver mine had to shut down while they replaced 6 pumps. The pumps were $10,000 themselves. Just the pump. Each pump was 10 grand. And that was the cheap part of the thing. You shut down a silver mine for a week to get your pumps replaced. How much money are you actually costing? Right? How many millions? Who knows? It's difficult to know. So the point is, but yet we all survived. We all moved on. We learned to improve our processes so the kind of error doesn't happen again, and you move on. That's all you can do. Last week there was a football game, and there's two things actually happened. At the end of a football game, one guy, there's a team leading, there's only time left for a Hail Mary. And so one of the players for the team that was leading was down at the end zone, yucking it up with some fans, right? Now, there's a disagreement. He says he was talking with some fans from his team. Other people were saying he was talking smack to fans of the other team. But either way, he wasn't paying attention to what he should have been doing, right? Pre-snap. And so come in, he catches himself in time, but because he wasn't paying attention, he panics and he doesn't do his role. He goes to jump to try to tip the ball when his job was to cover the back guy. And so he tips the ball and the back guy catches it for a game-winning touchdown. All because he wasn't, he panicked. He wasn't paying attention, got lost in the thing. Yeah, we're going to win, because no one ever wins it with, catches a Hail Mary. And because he wasn't paying attention, he was out of position, panicked, and yeah. Right. But you know what? He's got another game this week. And there was another one in the game last Thursday. Some guy breaks into clear, got an easy touchdown. He's coming running, and he starts to celebrate too early and drops the ball half a foot before the touchdown goal line, rolls out the back of the end zone for a touchback. The other team gets it. So instead of this touchdown, this huge, beautiful touchdown that for this rookie, never, yeah.
Oh no!
For no reason, he dropped it. Right? There's no reason to he dropped it too soon, half a yard too soon. Trying to be all cute.
No.
But you know what? He's got a game next week. So the point is, we all have mistakes. Some of us do it in the quiet of, our own warehouses or our own employee places. Some of us do it on national television. Okay, so put your head down, get back to work, and you'll be fine. Understand what you did wrong. Understand where your mistakes come from. More importantly, understand the process that led to the mistakes. And, and move on. We talked about it earlier. It's not the mistake itself isn't the problem. It's how you deal with it. Right? Don't be a victim. Use this as an opportunity to learn, to be better, to be more prepared in the future. Right? That's how you do it. Okay. What's next?
Am I allowed to call off work sick?
Well, unless you're like the CEO or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Generally speaking.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. So that's an easy one. Okay.
I was harassed at work and I felt it was taken too lightly.
Well, this is one of those things without knowing details, it's really hard to know. Maybe it wasn't as serious or as you think. Sometimes something that feels personal isn't necessarily personal. What's that? What?
Look at the screen.
Oh, why is it? I have to turn off the automation, and it's not doing it. Stop it. There we go.
Okay.
We wave our hands or something. I wave my hand or something, and it focuses on me. Okay. We've got to, just to let everybody know, we have a new studio set up. Kind of, it looks the same, but see, every time I move my hands, stop it. I gotta stop waving my hands is what I have to do. See? Okay.
Now stop waving your hands.
Stop waving my hands. Stop waving your hands around. Oh, okay. Well, it's very easy for us to misinterpret something as personal when it's not. Right? Especially if, for whatever reason, you have past traumas that you're, coping and dealing with. It's very easy. And so something for one person is no big deal because it wasn't intended any particular way. To another person, it can seem like it's this a big, huge thing. And it's hard for us as individuals, standing on our own, corners, standing on our own perspectives, to generally see a true one. So my solution, if you don't feel supported at work, my solution always is to find someplace else.
Yeah. Definitely.
I mean, because ultimately that's the, work is not home. Luckily, work, it's not a marriage. You can change at will. At will employment is for your benefit. All right. On to some intimacy questions. Let's see if we can run through these pretty quickly. All right. What do we got?
Humiliated after she sucked my finger. It had an effect
And
on him.
And
he's embarrassed.
Why is he embarrassed?
Because they're dating and they hadn't done the deed yet.
Okay, dude, that's called flirting. That's a good sign. Stop overanalyzing these things.
Hey, you picked up on something.
Well, okay, I might be dense, but I'm not that dense. Even I would have caught that one. All right. Yeah, that's a big sign that she likes you. Okay. So why are you feeling humiliated? Knock it off. Stop overthinking that one, or underthinking that one. Maybe, I'm not sure. Either way, you're not thinking that one properly. She likes you. Just keep doing what you're doing, except overthinking or underthinking. I'm still not sure which one that one is. I'd have to talk to them to be sure. Okay, so what's next?
Is it wrong that I'm just not that into it? It may be the person. You may need to be in love,
Well, it could be the person. It could be timing. Everybody runs through his periods of depression, or you just may not feel like it that particular day. With that much information, I can't really give an honest answer, right? But in long-term relationships, being into it is not necessarily the point of the relationship anymore. The point of the relationship is, are you happy and content in your life overall? So I don't know. Maybe you have to find exactly where you are sitting, what your short and long-term goals are, what it is. I can't give a good answer to that one without having more information. Okay.
When should I squeeze him?
When he wants it. This is a simple question.
Do you ask him? Are you supposed to ask?
Well, some people don't necessarily like that. So yes. I mean, general rule of thumb is you can try it and see how they respond. Don't overthink these things.
Okay.
But just please remember that not everybody likes the same things.
Oh.
So, and it depends what you define squeezing. How, when, where, exactly what. These things are the only way to do this is either a blunt conversation, or personal favorite is slow experimentation. All right, what's next?
Embarrassed about downstairs.
Yeah, welcome.
That's the female lady garden bitch. She's embarrassed.
Yeah, welcome to half the planet. Well, half the female. Well, I guess a quarter of the planet technically. Well, probably half the planet, because you got half of men who are probably embarrassed about their downstairs too. So there you go. It's half the planet. Yeah, it's perfectly natural for you to be embarrassed about downstairs, but there's nothing to be embarrassed about. Yeah, frankly, they're just not. It's one of those things that you don't even really know what it looks like, right? So someone else gets a far better view than you do. That's kind of off-putting.
It is.
If you think about it. So my suggestion is stop thinking about it. Sex is weird if you think about it too much. So don't think about it too much. That's my suggestion. There's this thing you can't overthink about it either. don't worry too much about it, because the person who likes you isn't really going to care what it looks like.
Yeah.
They're going to like it because it's attached to you. So
there you go.
so that's the important part to remember. All right, what's next?
Okay. A 25 female student never had sex. Is sex that good? Am I missing out?
Well, this is a tough question. The answer is yes and no, and yes and no, and yes and no. You've never had sex. Well, okay, at 25, I suppose you would, culturally speaking, it would appear that that's pretty old, but I don't necessarily think it is in the modern day.
Not really.
I think our perception is that that's old, but I don't think the reality is that that's all that old. I think more people are unactive than we believe. So
definitely,
you are of that age where sex is a driver of lots of things. Sexual desire is a driver of lots of things. So your desire for experimentation or understanding or education, whatever it is she's actually looking for, is understandable. Is sex that good? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. What I can say is cheap sex can come with a lot of regret. So the fact that you have avoided that is a good thing, I suppose. And so,
it's very good.
But at the on the other stage, there's times in your life where you can understand yourself, where you're still pliable enough to move past your innate, what's the word I'm looking for? Embarrassment. And if you go too much longer, it's going to be a hard habit to break.
It is.
So finding yourself a solid relationship is probably a good thing to focus on. And let the sex come with that rather than, find the relationship first.
Please do.
Yeah. Now, even though at 25, hey, if you would just wanted to go kind of find someone to knock it out to get one over with, I wouldn't blame her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hell, hire a professional, at least get your best. I wouldn't blame her.
No, that's an idea.
Frankly, I wouldn't. If she wants the best chance at having a good result, you might want to hire a professional. But I'm not saying that's a good idea. I'm just saying
it's an idea.
I wouldn't recommend it, but it would be understandable.
Too bad Craigslist doesn't let you post anymore, like that.
Yeah. Well, she'd get trying to find the real professional would be the hard part in that. Okay. One more question. What do we got?
Sex has always been a negative thing for me. How to change that?
That's a difficult one, because you're talking about changing not just habitual thinking, and dealing with, I didn't even move my hands this time, and dealing with, I'll be glad when I can fix that next week. And you're dealing with, past traumas, likelihood. So the good news is that you want to get past it, to be honest. The fact that you want to get past it is really the first step in changing it, because you no longer want to be a victim of it. You want to have control of it. And my feeling is that you've already on the path to changing that. Whatever it is you're doing to change that, keep going. And it's not going to be an easy thing. If you're looking for a silver bullet, if you're looking for something to speed up the process, I don't have anything for you. But I do have that you are on the process. You are on the path. Your desire to change that mindset is the way to change that mindset, is to just keep following it. And as always, as we've talked about, the best way to change these things is to find a partner that is supportive, who is willing to go through those uncomfortable nights for you and come out the other side to something that's more beautiful. And so, there's two things: your desire to see it differently, and then finding a partner that can fulfill that with you. Because not just anybody's going to do that. That's going to have to be someone who cares about you and you care about in order to achieve that. If you just go out to the club and pick somebody up and expecting to go home and have sex that doesn't have a negative attachment to it, it's not going to happen. Not that way, not for you. If that was going to happen, it already would have. So you solve this problem by changing your mental attitude towards the entire thing. And change your attitude towards a relationship, and you will change that. All right, that's it for us tonight. We want to thank you for joining us. As always, you can send us letters to love@latenightLove.us. You can, and that's it. You can find us at KUBU 96.5 FM, latenightLove.us, all those very good things. And have a good night. And please remember to love everybody.
Good.